yourself now, which is not good if you're videoing.
So, can we start by telling us about your visit to Dubai?
Well, when is this going on, by the way?
When?
When is it? So just give me a time context. Do you want it as if I'm speaking right now, or in a day's time, or?
Actually, we might put it up around Sunday, Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
So tell us,
Well,
please, about your visit to Dubai.
Well, I've just got here in Dubai. It's not the first time I've been here, but my wife has never been here. And one of the great attractions of Dubai and the festival here is not only to have huge fun with all of the many festival goers, because these festivals are tremendous fun, and the Dubai Festival, I've been told for years that it is a particularly good festival that I must come to. But also I've got the great joy of bringing my wife with me on this occasion, and so she'll be able to get to know Dubai for the very first time too. So we have really looked forward to this trip for a very long time.
Great, we hope you have great fun. So season 4 of House of Cards is now out, and it's running exclusively on OSN. Have you seen it yet?
Well, as an executive producer, I've been on set, and I've seen every bit of it before it went out. Yes, I'm very excited by it. I think that actually it's got even stronger. It's getting some great reviews.
What makes it stronger? What is special about this season in particular?
Great political drama actually isn't really about politics. It's about people in politics. And in Frank and Claire, we have two of the most extraordinary individuals, characters that we've ever seen in political drama. And season 4 really does get to the heart of their tempestuous and magnificent relationship. You never quite know who is really in charge. And of course, the tide shifts between one and the other. And I think it's watching that extraordinary relationship and how that develops and how it gets into desperate trouble that really people find terribly compelling. And I think that's one of the reasons why season 4 has got such great reviews.
Okay, who do you think is in charge?
Who
Between the two of them.
Who do I think is in charge? Well, like all good marriages and relationships, you're never quite sure. What is absolutely clear is that the traditional assumption that the man's in charge, the president is in charge, isn't necessarily the case. So it gets us all guessing a little bit and keeping us on the edge of our seats.
Okay. Overall, what do you think of the US adaptation of your book?
I'm just overjoyed. It's been a long journey, it's been a hugely enjoyable journey, and it's been a hugely creative one. I mean, what has happened with the American version, with the British version many years, 25 years ago, was a huge success around many parts of the world. It was the biggest, excuse me, it was the biggest international seller for the BBC for many years. But the American version has touched corners that even the British version couldn't. I've discussed it with the President of China, with the Prime Minister of Kazakhstan, with the British Prime Minister, of course. It is absolutely extraordinary.
Okay.
And I think that the American version has so much care and creativity poured into it, and also a great deal of money to make sure that the production values are so excellent, that it will be with us for a very long time.
Okay. What does it tell us about the difference between how politics are practiced in the UK and in the US?
It tells us almost nothing, because it's not about politics and it's not about systems, it's about people. And you could have set House of Cards in the Senate of ancient Rome, and it would still make sense. And that's why it's been so easy to adapt from Britain to America, and why I think it's so popular around the world. It is not simply an American story, it's a story about everyone and every system.
Okay. Saying that, what would you say inspired the book in the first place?
Oh, I was inspired to write the book by having a terrible, terrible time, having a huge row with a young lady you might have heard of called Margaret Thatcher. When I was working for her as a chief of staff, we had a big falling out. It happens in politics. And I was asked if I would write the kiss and tell story of my falling out with Margaret. And I refused. I didn't think that was what I wanted to do. But through a number of different accidents, it did end up getting expressed in a tongue-in-cheek book called House of Cards, about politics in general.
And what did you want to say in particular through the book?
I wanted to say absolutely nothing, in as much as I wrote it by accident. I really didn't expect to get it published. I never even, frankly, expected to finish it. It was my very first book, and I had no intention of becoming a writer. And yet, it sort of took control of my life, and has done now for the last 30 years.
But you were expressing something, right?
Oh, I was expressing being badly bruised and beaten by Margaret Thatcher. And I guess it was a form of therapy in a way. But and I suppose it was a means of throwing a light on some of the darker side of politics. And there is always a dark side of politics. It is not politics as a whole. It's only a small part of politics. But when you're dealing with drama, it's very often the dark side of people's characters that you look at in order to test them, and in order to get the true depths and richness from them. You don't. Drama is not documentary. It doesn't say, look, this is the whole of politics. It's not. It is a small bit of politics, but it's a very important small bit of politics.
Okay. So, which is your favorite character on the show?
Oh, my favourite character on the show. Well, I've become great friends with many of them. I suppose, in a way, and we're here talking about presumably characters on the screen. I really like Doug Stamper. He's played by an actor called Michael Kelly, and played extraordinarily well. His part has been written extraordinarily well, and I every time I see him on screen, I smile, because the viewer is never quite sure what's going to happen next with him.
Okay. So, if you were to describe Frank Underwood's character in 3 words, what would you say?
Oh dear. Well, his character is summed up by his initials. I don't know if that translates on your media, but if it doesn't, I'll provide another answer.
Yeah, let's have another answer just in case.
But that's how it arose, actually. That's why he's called, it's all started with the initials.
Yeah.
That's why he's called Frank Underwood, and that was his character too. But if you like another character, Frank Underwood is unlike any politician I've ever known, because he is solely and exclusively and totally about himself.
Okay.
Nobody else, no other person, just him. And you can't think of a single political principle that he holds to, except power.
Yes. And how do you think Kevin Spacey portrayed that on screen?
I think it's extraordinary.
What makes him extraordinary?
Kevin Spacey is an extraordinary actor. He portrays this character in a way that the British version, in a different way to the British version, which was also brilliant, done by a wonderful actor called Ian Richardson. And it shows, and along with Robin Wright, I think the two of them show how modern television is really capturing the quality of theatre and great filmmaking. We're going through a golden age of television drama, not just House of Cards, but many other great international drama series. but I'm very pleased to say that House of Cards has been part of that, an important part of that huge revolution in television drama that's going on right now.
Okay. Any last words you would like to say to OSN audience and the fans of the series?
Oh, enjoy season 4, please, and have a great time with it, because season 5 is coming.
Great. Brilliant. Thank you so much.
With great pleasure.